Hold. You thought that was it? Because I did. Welcome your faces back to episode number 61, season 2 of the series Profit or Loss. We're still currently sat at £1,676.69 out of a possible target of £2,000. Unfortunately, I don't have any updates on the previous items that have been listed, aka nothing has sold. What happens when we get to £2,000? Well, season 2 comes to an end. I have indeed made some merchandise for Profit or Loss Season 2 specifically, and it's on sale up until the 31st of December 2025. I'll leave a link down below. It's time to get cracking. I'm making a profit today like I did last episode. I can just feel it. What have you got for us today, Joey? I paid a grand total of £150 for this faulty PlayStation 5. In fact, it has no power. This is a slim model. £150 for this is lovely jubbly, even though it doesn't have a disk drive and it's the digital. The condition of this is unbelievable. What a steal for £150. And truth be told, I actually picked up, I think it was 5 PS5 slim consoles for £150 each. So we should be quids in, depending on if anybody else has actually been inside them. A few episodes ago, I actually purchased a PS5 slim and I wasn't able to fix it. And I said I'm going to keep it for parts. So I'm hoping that one that I have will come in very clutch for the 5 faulty ones. All right, first things first. Let's take these bad boys off. Has it been opened before? Please tell me it hasn't. Okay, it has. Yep, it has. You heard me correct. What are you talking about, Joey? The warranty sticker looks absolutely fine, doesn't it? Unfortunately not. You can see it has been peeled back ever so slightly. That's fine, because again, the console's in relatively good condition. So maybe all they did was change out the power supply or something. Let's just remove that, because it's giving me some sort of false hope, you know? Just take it off. Doesn't need to be there, does it? Let's plug her in and see exactly what happens. There we go. I didn't hear anything. No crackle, nothing. Let's go and try and power it on. Okay. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nothing at all. No lights, no beep. I can't hear anything. What revision is this? CFI 2016. Right, let's go ahead and start taking it apart. I can see as well on the screws that it's definitely been opened before, but that's not always the end of the world. Last episode, somebody had done a bunch of stuff to a PS5, even tried UART, and we managed to luckily fix that console. So I've got some faith. Where's my electric screwdriver? But I can't actually find my electric screwdriver. This is not good. Actual truth of the matter, I guess, is that I'm a little bit quicker with the hands. However, it hurts your hands over time. That's the wrong screw that's gone in there. I'm pretty sure that's meant to be one of these ones, no? Oh no, maybe I am wrong. Okay. Probably starting to get to the stage where I can actually count on 2 hands how many slims I've taken apart, but I don't have complete and utter recognition of where the screws go back just yet. Soon, hopefully. That one's in the wrong place. Let's take this fan out. Here we go. I should be able to lift this up now. No, you are. Okay, this is good, which basically tells me this wasn't a situation of like beep on, beep off beforehand, and I'm hoping that it's just gone to a straight no power. Typically, I find no power issues are a lot easier to resolve than what a beep on beep off situation would be, even with the assistance of UART. I guess that's just my preference though. So I'm not going to measure anything just yet. Everything looks relatively clean here. The stickers have come off, which would suggest to me that somebody has been even deeper inside this console instead of just going down to this level, for example. And now the torture begins. I will mention, however, we're missing the long silver screw that goes down here, so somebody's definitely been further inside this console. It confirms our suspicion. After 5 minutes and carpal tunnel later, this should now come off. 3, 2, 1, yo! Before we take a further inspection and a look at this console, a huge shout out to today's video sponsor, PCBWay. This month, they're running their 2025 Christmas and New Year big sales. Right now, you can grab up to $435 in coupons depending on your order size. On top of that, they have special deals on CNC machining, 3D printing, sheet metal fabrication, and injection molding. PCBWay have also fired up their get started for only $5 deal, perfect if you're prototyping, plus rapid turnaround options if you're on a deadline and you need something quick. If you want to save some cash on custom PCBs this Christmas, check the link in the description, grab a coupon, and enjoy the savings from PCBWay. Now back to the video. Alrighty, almighty, let's do some testing to ensure that we have our voltages and see what it is ultimately that we don't have, I guess. It doesn't look like I can't see any flux. So I'm kind of hopeful here, but maybe that's silly of me. Now, there is a little bit of a scratch here, so I think there has been some poking around. Let's go into DC voltage mode on the old multimeter. Now I'm going to ground my black probe here, and I'm just going to poke for 12 volts to start. So do we have 12 volts? I think that's ground, isn't it? Yeah, this one's 12V, isn't it? Imagine that you didn't plug in a cable, Joey, you absolute moron. Let's try that again. No edits. Why? Because everyone makes mistakes. Let's go again. Here we go. 12Vs. Oh, this one. Oh, okay, we do have 12 volts. All right, so this one was in fact ground. This one isn't. So let me just test here as well, because this is a 12 volt rail. Yeah, so we have 12 volts. Okay, interesting. Do we have R5? We do. Do we have our 3.3? No 3.3 by the look. Oh, I'm wrong. We have 3.3. So we have all of our voltage rails. So why on earth would you not power on if you've got all your voltage rails? Could it potentially be a faulty front panel button? How does this look? That looks pretty clean down there. Let me check for some shortations. Let's put it into continuity mode, which is the mode that beeps. Should beep, yep, when we get a full circuit. And the resistance is under 50 ohms. So if I, for example, measure here, which is on 12 volt rail, we don't get a beep because it's over that 50 ohms worth of resistance. Whereas if I measure on ground, that's 2 ohms. So therefore, my multimeter beeps under 50 ohms. Where be the fuses? Fuses, where be you? Let me just see if I've got any blown fuses at all, which would explain why I get voltage in one area and not, in fact, on any of the others. That's also okay. F7003, talk to me, mono me. You're all good as well. Looks like I'm going to have to flip this one over. Let's just try F7005. That's also okay. There's more fuses and bits and bobs on the back. I'm just going to check on the back of the south bridge for any immediate issues. We have 840 ohms here, which is very normal, I may add. That seems to be okay. These caps here, 840. That's okay, which kind of tells me, gives me good faith that the south bridge is all right. But why on earth would you be not turning on if you have all of your voltage rails? Nothing on the back of the Wi-Fi I see as well. I'm just checking around the caps there. All right, let me take this off and see if I can see any explosions or areas of interest is what I'll call it. I have had it before whereby you still get 12 volts on the power supply, but we still have some sort of fault. So I will also bear that in mind. You can never really write the power supply off, especially after you've checked everything else to confirm that it's all okay. There's no harm in really just swapping it out. But I don't necessarily believe that's going to be the issue with this case. Doesn't look like I'm missing anything here. All right, everything's out, isn't it? Yeah. The thing with the Slims is that the chassis is rather like flimsy, so you do have to be careful when taking this out. I usually just go with tweezers down here, flip that out. There we go. Turn her over. All right. Instantly, I'm not shocked that there's thermal paste here because I have seen that on another. I think I saw it on the Pro actually. Yeah, they do put thermal paste in some areas, which is kind of frustrating and annoying. But it is what it is. The Ethernet port bit was the chassis, the metal part was a little bit bent up then. But why would you have no power, my friend? No signs of flux from what I can see. So it doesn't in fact look like the board has been worked on. This is good. This is really good signs. Again, especially considering that price point of 150 smackaroons. Now I'm going to go over to the microscope and see if I can find any shorted caps or anything like that. The clarity on this absolute beast. This specifically is a Tomlov 3K. Any tools that I actually use in these videos will be linked down below as an affiliated link, meaning that I get a kickback if you decide to purchase any of the equipment. Where to start? Do you know what it could be? It could be a BIOS issue. All of our voltages present, but just completely dead, no power. I've seen that before on a few occasions. Again, just going to poke around, especially the RT5 chip next to our South Bridgie, just to see how that's holding up. I'll walk you through my complete sort of diagnostics right now because, you know, essentially what I'm looking at is this should be fully working if we have our main voltages. We could still be missing, I think it's like a 1.1, a 1.8 and a 2, but 9 times out of 10 when diagnosing a fault, we got 418 ohms there. That's a little bit strange. 418. I don't think I've ever seen 400 ohms. I think I'm also seen either 200 or 600. 400 is, unless again it's because of, I believe this chip is slightly different, the Nuvoton, same job, etc., just slightly, ever so slightly different. That's not been pushed back. That port looks absolutely fine, but those readings are a little bit weird. 400 ohms. Could be wrong, could be entirely wrong, as usual. I will say as well, that's a different BIOS to the BIOS that I'm used to. So if it does end up being a BIOS issue, Lord the glove, I don't know what to do here. So that could be a first on JDT. I'll check the power management IC as well down by the SSD controller, which is here. Now we should have around about 40 ohms or so. 60, okay, yeah, that's within scope in my opinion. That's ground, that's fine, that's okay. I'm measuring on the size that is going into the chip, can you see? So for example, here's 570, this is ground. We don't have any shorts around the RT chip for the SSD controller as well. So this is looking quite promising, honestly, if you ask me. If I measure on the RAM, we get 75 ohms. That kind of looks pretty healthy as well, again, if you ask me. Let me check some more of these fuses on the back of this board. In case you're wondering, this is 040. I'm next going to check the actual APU itself. So I'm just going to wipe off some of this liquid metal. I feel like that's a very sensible way to go and deal with things now and approach this situation. If the APU is okay and we don't have any cracks or knocks, considering there was nothing really on the chassis that I could see that would indicate it's been dropped to cause damage to the APU, doesn't mean that it's not damaged at all. But if this checks out okay, my next protocol is probably going to be to inject voltage. Now, I don't have a short on the 12 volt rail. I don't have a short on the 5 or the 3.3. So I'm going to go with 12 volts from my bench power supply and see what I get in terms of how much I draw in milliamps, because that will give me an idea as to what's going on. I also need to remember and bear in mind, which I learned the hard way last time, around about 230 milliamps, I think, is a good draw for this. But if it doesn't go past, say, 10, that can often be the BIOS. And because this is a digital, we should be okay in that regard. This die itself looks relatively clean, hey? I can't see any issues here. So I'm going to soak up that liquid metal to avoid it from sloshing around all over the place. Let's just pick her up. There we go, lovely jubbly. So let's do that. Let's go with the injection. So we've got 12 volts, 5 amps. Now, this isn't going to be enough to actually power the system on, say, if it was a faulty button. However, again, it's going to give us some sort of a good indication as to what is actually wrong. I hope, anyway. I could be entirely incorrect. So we're going to put the 12 volts on the plus in 3, 2, 1. So, I think that's a completely normal boot. I'm going to try again now. 206, 208, drop down. I think that's normal. It's definitely beeping. It's not a no power situation. So is it really just going to be a bad front button board, which I had on the last one that we looked at of these? I would be very confused that that was the case, considering how common then that would be. Now, I am just going to rule out something completely here. And even though it's not going to be able to boot fully, I think anyway, I am just going to plug in the power button along with my power supply to see if it is a faulty button or if it's a faulty power supply, because that is still possible. So here we go. I'm injecting and it's going to turn off in a couple of seconds. There we go. So it's reset. I'm going to push the power button in 3, 2, 1. No. And when I push the power button, nothing happens on the power supply. So it just sits at 12 milliamps. So I do think it's a front board issue. Let me try and push it really hard. No. Something's gone on the front, I think. Okay. Now I'm going to go get my test front board to see if this console then just all of a sudden starts working. If this does work, I am definitely going to take this one out and investigate, because it seems to be a real common issue. So I've plugged in Midona one just here that I know that works. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. I don't believe it. Does it go to a white light? This PS5 has been fixed because of a faulty power button. Anybody who has a PS5 Slim that is faulty, I urge you, if it's a no power and you're confident in knowing how to take it apart and put it back together, check this front board. There it is, a white light. I can't believe it. Do we get a display? Oh, it's gone back to a blue light, which means that it wasn't shut off properly, of course, because somebody probably just pulled out the power plug. Yeah, PlayStation logo. The HDMI port works as well. I don't believe what I'm seeing. I'm going to check the front board to see why that's faulty. Like, why does that just not work? We know it's not the connector because I'm using this front board with the same connector that's on the motherboard. So something's gone shot in this. Board's nice and toasty as well. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be able to lift out this whole part, I think anyway. And if I'm going to do that, let me put this on to then at least protect it in some way. Technically, I believe all I have to do is take out these 2 screws and then the whole thing lifts up, rather than having to take out the motherboard and sort out the liquid metal, etc. Because I've done that already. That's the wrong screw, I'm sure. So I think somebody even went to replace the power supply on this, you know? Because I'm pretty sure the base is meant to be 2 of these ones, and they've got one of these and one of those. Lovely jubbly, look at that. Oh, we've even got a chip. What's that doing there? Let's investigate this board then, and see what the situation is. I'm just going to simply swap it out and replace it with this one, because why not, right? Just to double check I've actually installed that correctly. This is now the board that I've just replaced it with. This is the one that we're going to be taking a look at underneath the microscope. I just want to make sure. Yeah, there we go. What a lovely jubbly fix. Would you look at that? Definitely time for a sip of the old brew. Good stuff, compadres. Look at that. What a profit that's going to be. The question is, why did you stop putting out? Hey? Right then, I guess first things first. Let me just go ahead and check the state of the actual port. See if we've got any crossing pins here, which could then cause a short. Doesn't look like it, does it? No, all of those pins look okay as far as I can tell, and that's where I'd suspect the damage to be, if I'm honest, because these are the most likely thing to break. People are plugging stuff in and out all the time, and it might not even necessarily be a short. It could just be that the button itself is faulty. So with that being said, if I can somehow get some more hands, hold. Okay, button itself is, you know, quote unquote okay. Is it perhaps like a little cap or something then? Do we have a short on this board? That seems to be okay. We do have a ground plane on here as well, so I can just check. That's fine. I'm pretty sure these are just like LEDs, right? If I go over, a couple of filters for the USB-C ports, which they seem to be, I mean, that one's okay. Let me check this one. Doubt this would cause us an actual issue, by the way, if there wasn't a continuous path. It would just mean that the port perhaps might not work, sorry, from a data or power perspective. I'm pretty sure they're on the data lines, mine. So that all seems to be okay. We got a couple of caps down here. Let me check these. No, we don't have a short on those rails. Check inside the connector. How's that looking? Bearing in mind this wouldn't have been touched, you would have thought. Yeah, that's absolutely clean. Before I look at the back of the board, we've also got this as well, which is the ribbon cable that goes from the daughter board to the main board. That was one side, and that's spick and span. Absolutely spick and span. So the button is pressing, so I'm almost thinking it's something to do with maybe internally in here, or the only other thing that we can really check is there's a couple of components on the back side around here. There's no corrosion or anything like that as far as I can tell. We've got a resistor here, and we've got a group of resistors here as well, and a couple of diodes for the LEDs. Could one of the LEDs be shorted? I don't even know if that's possible. I'm going to go ahead and assume it is, in which case if I go into diode mode, I should be able to power them, right? There's one. There's two. There's three. There's four. Oh, that one, wait, that one's as well. So, wait, okay, so these two. Those two. It is weaker, isn't it? You can see that it is quite weak. But the other one, the opposite, does light up. So, technically, these diodes okay as well. So, if I now go into resistance mode, I'm just going to measure this resistor here. 10K. Within scope massively. That's quite literally all of the components on this side except for the speaker, which I don't know if that's possible to develop a short, and it looks like this is a resistor for the speaker. So I'll measure here. Oh, slip-a-dee-doo-dah. 1K again, probably fine. Check these resistors here. So what are they meant to be? That's just going to be ground in the middle, isn't it? And then the traces and the vias go off. That one's a little bit discoloured. See here? It's a little bit discoloured. It's awkward because of the angle, because of the ports on the other side. Let's measure each of these. 181, that's exactly what it's meant to be. 470, 470, 470, 470, and last but not least, oh wait there, 180. All good. What about these little transistors? That's what they are, not diodes. I think I might have said diodes before. How many shorts here? I don't know where I'm meant to be measuring from and to, if I'm honest with you. Anything there? 2.3, 2.7, 2.3, 2.7. 2.3, 2.7, 2.3, 2.7. I've tested every single component. The only other thing that I think it could be is a busted port, perhaps. But I mean, they look okay, right? They look absolutely fine, but it's affecting the circuitry in some way. Because what's also weird, right, is that this fault would have developed before somebody even went into the console, if you think about it. Nobody would have gone into this, unless there is a possibility that maybe they were cleaning and they put it back together and it wasn't working. But I'm just thinking there wasn't an opportunity for something to get wedged on the motherboard connector or even the daughter board connector. There wasn't an opportunity for that to happen because it wasn't taken out. So I am just a little bit confused. That's the second one of these, I'm pretty sure in a row, that I've seen on a PS5 Slim, and I've only fixed one handful of PS5 Slims. It's good to know, and a message to you guys as well. If you have a PS5 Slim that you're working on, you can't work out what it is, and you get all your voltages, check that front power board. It's very much, I guess, like the LED strip on the older model of the PS5, right? If that got a little bit chewed, it would make sense, because it would maybe short one of the data lines to ground or power rails or whatever. Whereas this, I mean, I've measured, I can't see anything obvious. I guess the next step would be to measure each individual pin on both the USB-C port and the connector itself, but I'm not going to do that, if I'm honest with you. So let's head on over to Sally's spectacular spreadsheet to work out the estimated profit for today's video. Okay, so this is actually going to be pretty nice. I've put PS5 Slim £150 cost. If I go, I'm going to say roughly around £220, I get £50 20 pence. However, that's not the end of it, and boy do I have a treat for you today, because my friend has already agreed to buy this PS5 Slim, and this £50 here is with an included eBay fee of around about 9% or so. So if I go over to this part, and it's obviously not going to be any postage because I'm going to drop it off to him, if I do £220, there we go, look at that, £70 on the nose for this. I didn't have to be a genius to work that one out, I guess, but £70 profit for that simple fix is crazy, which then our actual total profit is £1,746.69, and I still have a PS5 to sell. The day's coming where season 2 might be coming to an end, and like I said, down below in the description there will be a link to some merchandise and or the tools that I use in these videos as an affiliated link. If you know about why these don't work after all of the measurements that I've taken, please let me know in the comment section. That would be much appreciated. And if you did enjoy today's video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here, and as always, I shall see you in the next one. Peace. Hold. You thought that was it? Because I did. I thought that was it. I thought we were overdone and out and everything was all okay, gravy and working. Unfortunately, it's not the case. PS5 is displaying some very, very weird behavior. Right now, it's in great condition as well, by the way. We have a white light, and it's most probably booted. I'm going to go ahead and assume. I'd actually be assuming wrong, because as you can see, it says, please wait, which is not good. So PS5, to confirm, is on a white light. Okay, so it's booted. The can't connect to network is because I've not set up the network yet. I've not had a chance to. But every time I kind of walk away from it and come back, it's been turned off. So I don't know why that is. It's not an overheating issue, because fan be spinning, and if it were like shutting down based off a timer, then it wouldn't be beeping as in like a beep on beep off when I go to turn it on, because that's what's been happening. And I'm sure it goes into, like, you know, the orange light mode, almost like a standby. So I don't know why it keeps shutting down. I will investigate, and I'll do a little bit more prodding and testing, and I'll confirm in a second. It's frozen. I have to be quick. So it's still on, but the console's frozen. Why are you freezing? So I think I found what our issue is. I'm kind of hoping it's a software thing, but I don't know if it is going to be a software thing. Console's still on, but that freeze is definitely not good. Okay, what to do? I think we just go with a software reset as quick as humanly possible as well, because I need not this to happen. Or I can try and boot it into safe mode and see what happens. It's just switched off. It's just gone. It's dead. So what's the underlying issue here? Because now, when I press it and I get the beep, you see, I don't know if that's going to give me anything in UART either. I'm not too sure it will. I'm going to try and put it into safe mode. Okay, we got the double beep. It's gone straight into safe mode. So I'm at, it's just turned off. I don't believe it. Please turn back on, because I just managed to, okay, it's turning back on. I managed to put it into safe mode and reset the console, and I've actually, the Ethernet's already plugged in, but it wasn't picking it up. In safe mode, obviously it only uses Wi-Fi for whatever reason. So I've just gone through the setup process, and it's asked me to update the console. That's exactly what I'm doing now. So it's just downloaded the update. I believe it's now applying the update, and this is the longest it's actually stayed on. If this was an overheating issue, we'd get an error when we turn the console back on saying your device is overheated. And I know that I put the liquid metal on the chassis and the motherboard. Okay, because I've done it, you know, hundreds of times before. Now the fact that it's actually not turned off, it has got me more thinking towards maybe some sort of software issue or deep corrupted firmware or something. Either way, even if this is gonna work, I'm gonna have to keep it for testing now. It's not gonna be like a guaranteed 100% it's sorted, and it's just gonna take a lot more of my time. Well, the fix was easy enough, I guess, right? Now I'm thinking, like, what was this the issue originally, and then somebody took it apart and then put a faulty connector in or something to throw somebody off. I'm thinking about all these things now, you know? Perhaps this was the issue and then they messed something up on the inside, which then made it a no power. I'll update you in due course. I'm going to boot into safe mode quick and try reinstallation file. If that doesn't work, I'm going to have to call it with this, unfortunately, as much as I really, really don't want to. It's in such good condition as well, man. It got as far as me signing in and then done the exact same thing. So it's definitely something inside. It could be SSD controller, could be SSD chip, could be South Bridge, could be a power rail, 12-volt power rail, could be a MOSFET there that when it's just getting kicked into gear, it's falling over and failing. It could be absolutely anything. And unfortunately, UART's not going to tell me exactly what the problem is because it doesn't in these situations. I don't believe I'm having to go back into Sally, by the way. This is ridiculous. All right, listen. I'm just going to delete this stuff for now and I'll keep it as 150 only because I have 4 other PS5 Slims. If I need power supplies and other parts, I'm going to almost treat this as like a bit of a job lot. And then I think at the end of that job lot, if I don't require certain things, then I can maybe let go of 3 of them. If I can't fix any of them, you know, I'd probably sell 3, keep 2 or something like that and try and reclaim some money back. But the first one of this job lot of 5 is not so good. Well, this is my second ending, I guess. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in the next one. I bet you didn't expect that because I definitely didn't. I wrapped up and everything. Thank you. Sorry to bore you. And goodbye.